Now we can answer the questions. In this case, we have 4 variables to consider: S, P, R, and N. And if we have 3 knowns and 1 unknown, we can always solve for that unknown. In this case, we know S, we know P, we know R, so we can solve for N. We can use our equation to establish the number of years it takes to turn 4,800 euros into 6,000 euros with an annual interest payment of 6%. We know that S equals P times 1 plus R over 100 to the N, and we know S, P, and R, so we should be able to solve for N. So let's solve the problem, assuming that we've got a 6% interest rate. So 6,000, the amount we require, equals 4,800, the amount in the bank at the moment, times 1 plus 6 over 100, because we're assuming an interest rate of 6%, to the power n, where n is the unknown. Now the best way to solve for n is to use logs, and we'll use logs to the base 10. So let's first of all divide both sides by 4,800 to get rid of that term 4,800 on the right hand side, and then we'll get 6,000 divided by 4,800 is 1.25. 1.25 equals 1 plus 6 over 100 to the n. That means that n equals the log of 1.25 over the log of 1.06, which gives us 3.83. So there wouldn't be sufficient funds in the account after 3 years to reach the 6,000 target, but there'd be more than enough after 4 years. You can check the number 3.83 if you've got a calculator with a log function by going back to the original equation and setting n to 3.83. Now let's see what happens if the interest rate is not 6% but 13%. What happens now that we have a higher interest rate? How long does it take to acquire the 6,000 euros? Well, 6,000 equals 4,800 times 1 plus 13 over 100 to the n. Let's divide by 4,800 as before to get rid of the 4,800 on the right hand side. And we've got 1.25 equals 1 plus 13 over 100 to the n. So n equals log of 1.25 over log of 1.13, which comes to 1.8258. So in order to acquire sufficient funds, it will take less than 2 years if it's possible to get a 13% interest on the money. As interest rates rise, the period of time it takes to acquire the necessary funds will be reduced. So using the formula, we solved for n, but we could solve for any of these unknowns provided that we know the other 3.